would like to join, I'll just keep this door open, please. We do need to shout anything. Yeah, no problem. So, can you actually speak to me first then? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
What a professional setup. What a professional setup. Welcome to the Believe in Bruce live stream here in the studio. What do you think of it? What do you think of the studio? So I'm just going to set this top up here. Let's have a look. Let's see who we have on the actual stream here. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes for people to join in. Let's have a look at the chat. Let's see who we've got. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. Now, this is the first time we've done things. All right, this is the first time we've actually had a shot in the professional studio. All right, in the professional studio. So tonight's episode, all right, Meghan Markle, Oprah Winfrey, Prince Harry, everything to do with that, but also Piers Morgan. All right, Piers Morgan. Now, this is an interesting one. Piers Morgan tonight has quit his role as the co-head presenter of GMB, Good Morning Britain, amid the rows, the turbulence, all right, the evocative conversation that's been going on since Piers put his opinion across of what he thought was going on with the situation. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight, all right? We are going to be looking at everything that's gone on. Obviously, I've put 2 videos out there. I've put numerous videos, to be fair, over the past 18 months about Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, the royal family, etc. So we'll be divulging, we'll be looking into that particular area. And also, this is the first as well, is what we will be doing is we will be getting people to call in live, because that's what we're interested in, all right? We'll be looking for people to call in live to the show. The number will be coming up soon, all right? Where you can give your opinion. In fact, here's the number here. Call Bruce live, okay? Store this number if you want to take part in the show. It would be great, rather than me just presenting, to actually get people coming in, all right? Giving your opinion, giving your ideas, your take, your perceptions. We know this is a very Marmite topic. We can know it can be an evocative topic as well. But that's what we're after, okay? That is what we're after. And the reason why I wanted to do this on a live show was to create, which is effectively going to be the name of my new podcast, all right? So my new podcast is going to be called Around the Campfire. And I'm going to be interviewing guests, not just singular guests, but multiple guests. And the idea of Around the Campfire philosophy is that we've all got perceptions, we've all got opinions, we've all got biases, prejudice, different beliefs. The idea by getting people with different opinions around the campfire and actually talking about it is we create that safe space to talk. Right? We create that safe space to talk, that safe space to engage. So think of this as your private WhatsApp group, if you will, all right? That you have that imposter syndrome, we all have that imposter syndrome to a certain extent. That when we are in front of people, that you will change depending on the groups of people that you interact with, all right? And again, that's normal, it's a normal self-preservation mechanism, all right? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But if you were to go in private WhatsApp groups and see some of the jokes, some of the stories, some of the actual, the text messages that we all send, that, wow, that's totally different to the people who I meet on a day-to-day basis, but that's the authentic truth, all right? This world, this reality, right now in 2021, needs a space for people to see, actually, this is how I am feeling. This is my authentic truth. Without fear. You know, to be able to put your opinion across. It doesn't matter that your opinion may be different. It doesn't matter that your opinion may offend someone even, okay? We need really to sort of get down on this, is that if you have an opinion and if you can put it across in a solution-based, constructive, positive way, And we're not, you know, and we're not going out of our way to be nasty, to be vindictive, to be offensive, you know, and we can put that stuff in a bracket. Is that we really need that safe space to be able to authentically be ourselves, to authentically put our opinions across. You know, because we only know what we know, all right? We only know what we know. And sometimes by having the chat, you know, for example, the Oprah interview, we might have learned different things about that particular party, Harry and Meghan. When you chat to somebody about different things, when you chat and go, well, you know, what do you think? They can offer information that, wow, okay, that's been really impactful, that's been really helpful. But safe spaces nowadays are so rare, so rare. Political correctness, you know, what can I say, what can I, you know, what can't I say? What will be picked up by people who follow the woke movement? What will be picked up by those, you know, politically correct people? Is we need sometimes to drop our guard, to accept that actually what someone may be offering may offend us. But we need to own that sometimes. We also may need to temper, to change how we say things so that we can truly get a collaborative conversation. This is what we've got here. There is love in the room, all right, with studio. It may be a bit clunky. Me, the guys at 8K Live here in Newcastle, fantastic setup crew here. We're just learning how to work together at the moment, all right? So, as Conor McGregor would say, I apologise to absolutely no one if it is clunky. But the more we do that, all right, the specific adaptation process is that the more you do something, the better you will come at it. So I'm just going to have a look here. We've got 307 people watching. Fantastic. If you have got anything that you would like to put in, so we've got, in fact, in the comments, let's go for it. Let me know where you are watching this from. Okay, let me know where you're watching this from. I'm going to see what our reach is, all right, what our reach is across the globe here on the Believe in Bruce channel. Let me know what you're thinking of the studio setup. Is it better than me just being in my office with my little bookshelf behind me? And again, we are going to be asking people to ring in, all right? We're going to be asking people to ring in. But if I can just say, one of the purposes of this live stream is to advertise our Around the Campfire podcast. And the purpose of this is me in a Volkswagen camper van, all right? And what we've done is we've put a full podcast studio on the inside of a camper van. And I am going to be going around the UK, bringing people into the camper van, bringing more than one person into the camper van. Hopefully in the summertime, having the barbecue, having the campfire outside the camper van, but listening to their story, listening to their perspective, what they've been through. Any tools, techniques, tips, strategies that they've adopted to help them in life. Is there anything that we can learn from that? That really, you know, around the campfire, that crackly feeling, getting the blanket, sitting down, having a drink, sharing stories, listening to stories, learning from other people's experiences and perspectives. All right, so if I can, this is the little graphic that you will see for Around the Campfire. And I think it just beautifully sums up what we're trying to achieve for it. First, roll the VT. I'm always on the Brilliant. Okay, so again, I'm just a little bit clinky with the buttons here. So we've got people up in Yorkshire, Ireland, Colorado. We've got people from Colorado, sunny Las Vegas. What time is it in Las Vegas? Is that like 8, 9 hours behind us somewhere? But thank you. What I'll be asking people to do from all over the world is give us your perspective on what you are feeling, all right, on what you are feeling, what your angles are on this particular subject. But also, I think what this is a sort of, almost a microcosm, a minute example, all right, a minute example of how we treat each other. Every single person on this video now, you are hypocritical. You have got prejudice. You've got different beliefs to other people. You can do things and then, you know, take umbrage with someone else who does exactly the same thing. But that's beautifully human, all right? As humans, we need to embrace everything that we bring to the table, all right? Everything that we bring to the table. We need to accept that people do things that agitate us, that actually we do when we agitate others. We need to accept that we can get angry, we can get evocative, we can get emotional, all this type of stuff that we judge other people too far on because, hey, we judge people if they don't do it the way we want them to. It's about raising our awareness, stretching our boundaries, embracing more about other people to accept the truly humanistic behaviours. That we can't be emotional, that, you know, some behaviours, were positive, where we would say, oh yeah, they are positive behaviours. We'll tend to talk about them, we'll tend to embrace them. Some of the negative stuff where we can get angry, where we can get defensive, where we can get really miffed off. All right, we don't talk about them, but they are just as, they are just as natural as the behaviours that we talk about from that positive angle. Now, what I'm going to do, let's have a look here, is what I do is I would love somebody, let's have a look how many people, we've got a number of people there. I would love somebody to join in the conversation, either via Zoom, okay, or just call in to the number. But what I would like to start with, okay, and we'll get into the Meghan and Piers quitting, etc. all now, I want to just make us aware, okay, of the biases, the narratives that we are currently bringing to this meeting, all right, this chat. Do you like Meghan? Do you not? Do you like the royal family? Do you not? Do you back Piers Morgan? Do you not? That's what I would like to raise your awareness to first, okay? What narratives are you bringing? Because what we can do via our heuristic biases here, all right, our heuristic biases is that one of them being confirmation bias. You may be looking for the data that just backs up your opinion. You know, we will latch onto that bit of data. If someone's a bad person, if someone's hurt you before, in fact, think of a time when someone has hurt you. All right, someone's been nasty to you, someone hasn't really, made you feel great. Then what we can do is, because that wounds us, all right, that really wounds us, is that we'll pick up data that actually amplifies, that solidifies, that concrete in our mind, that vision of that person is a bad person. Again, filtration, it's a natural human process. But what that stops us doing, what that limits us to be able to not do, is see all the rest of the data. Okay, and I'm a big one for data, specific data, that allows us to see more of what that person brings to the table. And this is what you could be feeling about Piers Morgan. This is what you could be feeling about Meghan Markle. All right? Just be aware what stories, and try to just shake that energy off, shake those narratives off, and at least say, okay, what can we explore on here? So what I would like, the first person who can join in, okay, via Zoom, the guys are watching in the chat there, is someone who's got a positive opinion of Meghan Markle. All right, that's what we're looking for. If you would like to join in, if you would like to give me a phone on here, actually put your opinion across, maybe join on a Zoom call. If you can indicate in the comment section, either on Facebook or on YouTube, the technological team here, they will actually pick you up, they'll bring you in and they'll link me up, and me and you can have a chat. All right, me and you can have a chat. But I'm specifically here right now looking for someone who's got a positive appreciation of Meghan Markle. All right, a positive appreciation of Meghan Markle. Also, what I'm after, to balance it around the campfire philosophy, is for someone who's got a negative opinion of Meghan Markle. All right, because I'm just interested in laying the land here, laying some ground. So if you can indicate to the guys in there that if you have got a positive opinion of Meghan Markle and you want to join in, fantastic. Indicate to the guys in the comments, they'll bring you into it. Also, if you've got a negative opinion of Meghan Markle, indicate to the guys in the comments and they will bring you in. And while we're doing that, and again, if the guys, once we've got somebody locked in, if you can just let me know, the whole idea with this, why we're setting that emotional baseline across there, is that sometimes what we bring to the table is not accurate, it's emotional. And that's one of the things that we do, is we always try to go for the F or the E, okay, factual or emotional. All right, we're looking at what is facts versus what is emotion. If we can get to the emotional stuff away and focus on the facts, that helps us to be more calm, more balanced, more love in the room, all right, which is great for us, not just on this particular topic, but anything in life, all right, anything in life that you can go for. So we've got Stuart. Brilliant. We've got Stuart on live. Okay, let's have Stuart come in. So Stuart has hopefully a negative, let's just call it what it is, a negative opinion of Meghan Markle. So Stuart, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey Stuart, nice to meet you. Introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about you, where you're from, etc. Stuart.
Oh, hi, I'm from Aberdeen.
You're from Aberdeen, okay, up in Scotland. Thank you very much for joining us all the way up in the north there, Stuart. So,
hi, Bruce.
Your opinion, Meghan Markle. Tell me a little bit about what your feelings are towards Meghan Markle, please, Stuart.
Well, I think Meghan is pretty honest about what she says.
Oh, Stuart, are you still there?
I feel Meghan is honest. You know, I don't know why she'd make all this stuff up. I mean, apart from making like millions of pounds.
Yeah. Sorry. So, is your opinion positive of Meghan Markle? Is it?
Yeah, I'm positive. Yeah.
Okay. So, when you say Meghan's honest, give me some examples of the honesty that she's shown, please, Stuart.
Well, I think, you know, she's come to the world. You know, she's come in front of the world, and she's got a lot to lose. Yeah.
So. She's got a lot to lose, but you said she was honest. Okay, you said she was honest, so I'm just challenging you now, as I'll challenge everybody who comes on here. Like, give me some examples of her honesty. So, coming in front of the world, she's...
Why? Yeah, I mean, why would she be...
Stuart, I can't hear you.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, I mean, what she said is absolutely right about the royal family. You know, I think they are the firm. They are, you know, living off the taxpayers, you know, and I don't see why, you know...
So, Stuart, with the, you know, sorry, I'm having some issues with the sound here. I don't know if it's you dropping out. Terry, I don't know if you can fix that. So I don't know if you're dropping out or it's actually my earpiece here, but you sort of keep coming in and out, Stuart. So when you say that, you know, the firm, let's get straight to the crux here. So have you also got an issue with the royal family then, Stuart?
Yeah, I'm not a royalist, you know. I mean, I must admit, I think it's a bit of a sham, really, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Then, and would you therefore admit then, Stuart, that could be impacting your biases, as in you don't like the royal family, there's somebody else here who seems to be going against the royal family, so you're just jumping on the Meghan Markle bandwagon then, Stuart?
Well, not really, not on the Meghan Markle bandwagon, but I think you know, the thing with Jimmy Savile and then with Andrew recently, I think there's been I think that's a lot of coincidences in a very short space of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay then, Stuart. So Stuart, thanks very much from Aberdeen. Thanks for that. So Stuart, positive example of Meghan Markle. Now, have we got anybody who has a negative aspect of Meghan Markle? So Stuart, and again, let's be fair with that. What we're asked for is some positive examples. Stuart come up with that. He's obviously got an issue with the royal family. Didn't give really any massive detail on any examples of Meghan being honest. So let's go. Like, again, I'm after debate here. I'm after challenge. I'm after, you know, really granular conversation that we can spark maybe evocative ideas of. And I'm not in either camp. What I'm interested in is people coming on and being, you know, their authentic selves. And actually, Bruce, this is what I think, okay? This is what I think. This is what I'm talking about. You know, so if you have got, let's have the number up here again, guys. If you have got any ideas, if you would like to join in with the conversation here, you can call me now live, 0844 5027 823. I've been told that's 084450 Bruce. I'm not too sure how that works out. I've never really followed that stuff anyways, but there we go. So we've had Stuart on. Now again, let's have a look in the comments here. We've got Copperpot. Meghan is a narcissist and that's dangerous behaviour because she doesn't understand her own behaviour. Okay, now again, we're generalising here. All right, we're generalising. Meghan is a narcissist. Okay, well, show me the evidence. Show me the evidence, and I'm not saying she's not, by the way, but we've got to start backing up these statements or changing our beliefs. All right, we've got to stop backing up our, you know, because we're very quick to do wishy-washy generalised statements. You know, somebody does one thing and that makes them that. Somebody does another thing and that makes them that. All right, we've got to be really careful about the labels that we give somebody. All right, and what we're after here is maybe, now I'm going to go into some body language examples. Well, we've got a number of things that I've already mentioned on my videos, but taking some question and answer. So we've got another guy called Scott from Newcastle. All right, Scott from Newcastle. This should be interesting. Scott, welcome to the Believe in Bruce live stream. Tell me who you are, where you're from, and your opinions on Meghan Markle, please, Scott.
Hi, Bruce. My name's Scott. I'm from Walker in Newcastle.
Nice to meet you, Scott from Walker in Newcastle.
So, my view is that Meghan Markle's obviously got a manipulative side of herself. But I do believe...
All right, Scott, so stop there. And let's actually do this as a Q&A between you and I. When you say Meghan Markle has got a manipulative side to me, give me the evidence, Scott. All right, give me the evidence for Meghan Markle having a manipulative side. Give me one specific example.
Previous marriage, the fact that she doesn't integrate with her dad, the fact that she's left all of her life behind almost to become part of a new life.
But you're saying, okay, so let's take, and I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way, Scott, okay? So please accept this as me just trying to obviously offer some clarity, some fairness to that. So you're saying she doesn't have anything to do with her dad, all right? So equally you could say that her dad doesn't have anything to do with her. Her dad was on GMB this morning. He was saying, you know what, I did go to the press. I did sell the story.
Yeah.
I was taken advantage by the person who was meant to be sorting out. So come on then, Scott, like actually be fair, if your parent had done this, if they had sold some stories, etc., etc., as a minimum, you'd be pushing back, wouldn't you? As a minimum, you would be pushing back.
Yeah, you're all right, but that was out, and I can see why they don't want to talk to him.
Okay, so put the parent on the side. Give me the next bit of that she's a narcissist. Give me some example that nobody could argue with.
Something I know personally about Harry. I met Harry when I was in Afghanistan.
Right.
And so I got to speak to him for a very short time, and then I also met him when I was part of the Invictus Games training for powerlifting for Australia.
Yeah.
So I've met Harry a few times.
Okay.
And to see his behaviour now. I mean, I watched a James Corden interview with him, and I know you can't take all press in like one brain and one thought, but when you look at him in that, he doesn't seem to be the same captain of the British Army, representative for his country and the people that he served with. It seems like he's almost sort of not forgotten about that, but it seems like his ideas have totally just changed.
But is that not acceptable then, Scott? Okay, let me offer this to you, okay, because we're talking about different environments. So when he was at the Invictus Games, when he was captain in the British Army, he was at the Invictus Games and he was captain of the British Army. It's like me saying to you in your bedroom, all right, why aren't you doing Gangnam Style on top of your bed? You'll say, well, actually, Bruce, I'm sleeping, I'm in bed. But you were dancing in the disco, Scott. So you're actually comparing two totally different behaviours there, aren't you? So you say, well, in this situation, he acted like this, but he wasn't acting... Of course he wasn't acting like that. He's with James Corden. They were having a laugh, they were having a crack, they were having a banter.
Yeah.
So he's potentially not going to have that type of military bearing that one would expect when someone is serving in the military. Do you understand that? So for me, we can probably... we can put that one to the side, because that's not factually... balanced or actually, you know, backed up neither, Scott, with accurate data.
Right. Well, like I say, I mean, the interview itself, there's a lot of, like, from what I've seen of your videos, there's a lot of eye blocking, there's a lot of hand rubbing, self-soothing, stuff like that. You know, there's a lot of indicators to show that she's not being 100% truthful all the time when she's talking.
Are you 100% truthful all the time, Scott?
But I'm not truthful all the time. No,
and neither am I. So okay, let's accept Meghan Markle's human like the rest of us. But you know, can you sort of see where I'm going from this, brothers and sisters? Yeah, it's like what we are doing is we are judging people out there, and we're creating stories and we're creating narratives and we're running up our ladder. Not thinking, actually, what is factual, what is emotional. You know, we'll take a little bit of data. This is the beautiful human side that we do here, Scott. We'll take that little bit of data and we'll start adding inferences and beliefs and, you know, and we'll start climbing that ladder until we create an output, a label, a conclusion, whatever that may be. And that becomes our reality. That becomes what it is. That becomes, you know, the thing that we start to believe in. Now, think about this as the viewer. Scott, stay in there because I am going to come back to you, sir. I just think this is a really salient example to give. Everybody, remember the last time you text somebody, sent somebody a WhatsApp, sent them an email, sent them a Facebook message, and they didn't get back to you? Like, think of that. The last time you sent someone a text message and they didn't get back to you, all right? They didn't get back to you. The only fact that we've got at the bottom of the ladder is that they haven't responded, they haven't got back to you. But brothers and sisters, you know, we are beautifully human. We don't stop there. We are biologically hardwired to be sense-making beings, all right? We're biologically hardwired to be sense-making beings. So we start climbing the ladder. Scott, you and I, we both climb our ladder. The first rung as well, why haven't they responded? You might go into WhatsApp, hey, they've got 2 blue ticks, they've definitely read it. Or you'll go onto Facebook and you'll say, oh, you know, I can see that little profile picture, they've read it, why haven't they got back to us? But then we'll start to interrogate it even further, and this is up climbing up our ladder. You know, have they not enjoyed what I've said? Do they not think I'm funny? Do they not, you know, are they not interested in me? Do they value other people more than me? Do they fancy other people more than me? We climb up our ladder all the time, and this is what's happening, I believe, not just with Meghan Markle, but, you know, what we do as humans, is that we'll take that bit of information. Sorry, say that again, Scott?
You don't think it works as a diversion as well from the actual circumstances that are happening around the Prince Andrew and the other stuff? That's not what you want to talk about, but it's still like, it reminds me of a Dave Chappelle thing where he states about, it's a joke about Michael Jackson and about the situation and how if Michael Jackson was actually the cure to cancer, but he couldn't, and all he had to do was cry. And the joke talks about like how they would always have to send Michael Jackson out to another kid if there was a situation like a war that was happening. You know, so it's similar to that. Like the way I've seen it is.
Right, Scott, stop. You know, just stop here. This is the beautiful part of being human, all right? Now, this is where we've gone. So let's backtrack. And again, I'm enjoying the engagement here. But the question was, give me something observable of Meghan Markle's narcissism, and we've ended up about talking about Michael Jackson and children, yeah? So let's go back to that. Can you give me a concrete, and I'm just after a yes or no here, okay, because I want to bring some more people in, a yes or no answer of Meghan Markle being narcissistic, or would you admit a lot of it's made up in your own head, Scott, based on the limited information that we've got, that you've climbed your ladder, like, you know, the person to the left or to the right of you?
Yeah, I would say because of the circumstances she was in, I can't exactly tell her that it was sitting in a room with her talking to her about it. So I guess, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Scott from Newcastle in Woga, much appreciated, Scott. Really enjoyed that conversation there. So again, if there is anybody else, please remember this is a live show, this is Q&A. Get on that number, okay? Guys, if we can bring the number up again, I want to hear from anybody at all, who has got a particular perspective, positive or negative, on Meghan Markle. And we're going to be talking about Piers Morgan later on, okay? We're going to be talking about Piers Morgan, but get on this number. It'd be great to hear more people. And remember, challenge me. You know, show me the data. Show me, actually, we've got this concrete thing here, or this belief, or Bruce, actually, we've got no data. This is the way that I feel. All right, this is the way that I feel. So the number to ring, 0844 5027823. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, and again, at any time, guys in the text suite behind, at any time, if there's anybody who wants to talk, just bring me their name and we will bring them on. So please, you know, in the comments, keep it going. On Facebook, fantastic. Let's have more people engaging though, okay? Yes, you know, comment, see what other people are commenting, but also phone in, tell me your opinion. If you're up for a Zoom call, indicate that in the comments, we'll get you on a Zoom. All right, me and you live on this channel, we'll start streaming your face as well, just to have the crack. Remember, all opinions are welcome. I want to get this clear. Okay, all opinions are welcome. Whatever your feeling is, whatever your thoughts are, it's fine. If it's your truth, okay, and I'm just paraphrasing Oprah Winfrey here, if it's your truth, let's have it around the campfire. No one else has to agree with you. No one else has to disagree with you. I'm interested in what you truly feel about the situation. So what we'll do is, when we're waiting for people to we've got somebody else coming in here. Who have we got here? We've got Emily from Hampshire. Emily from Hampshire, welcome to the Believe in Bruce live stream. Emily, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can. Thank you.
Oh, Emily, great to join. So, Emily, tell me a little bit about you, where you're from, and also your perspective on this situation, please.
Okay, well, I guess I'm from the south of England, and my general perspective on it is that we shouldn't really, there's a lot of things, especially with the Piers Morgan thing, right? There's a lot of people that are saying, oh, she doesn't have a right to feel however she feels about things. But as But as somebody that has experienced mental health issues, then shouldn't we just allow her to say, yes, okay, that's how I feel about that? And it doesn't matter whether you feel that she's justified to feel that or not. If that's how she's feeling about it, then that's how she's feeling about it.
Emily, what I would like to do, though, I would like to challenge you on that. Actually, maybe it's not challenge, maybe it's enhance, okay? Because I work off the, I would offer here, okay, let's choose my words carefully. I would offer here, forget about mental health in this context. Mental health's not important for what I'm about to say. All right, mental health is not, that's not saying mental health's not important. Obviously, my background, I'm a big advocate of mental health, but mental health is not important in this particular situation here. Because what I'm about to say and what I believe in is whatever you feel, you should be able to express. Forget about mental health, all right? Forget about anyone suffering from mental health. Any single person, what they are feeling, they should be able to have the psychological safety, that inner voice that says that actually I'm allowed to say how I feel. It's not about being right or wrong, it's just about saying actually, so I'm agreeing with you, and I'm even enhancing that point there where I think, you know, that's why I built my around the campfire philosophy. That's what I'm looking at doing, is in like creating that psychological safety. Nobody has to agree with you, nobody has to disagree with you. If it would make you feel better for, you know, for you just to be able to say to people, right now, this is how I'm feeling, that's got to be a good thing. And my, you know, my drive, my ambition, my desire, my purpose with the stuff that I do is to create that psychological safety. So, you know, we talk about male mental health, and, you know, men don't feel the ability to speak up, which I think is a negative generalization which could actually enhance men not speaking up. But it's the ability to speak up when you want to speak up, when you want to say something. That's what I think society needs to do to create more psychological 100%. Safety.
If you don't mind me jumping in as well, I think that there's also, like, I think, like, she's obviously accusing, I'm not sure whether that's the right word or not, she's obviously accusing the royal family of racist allegations. And as a, right, I'm a
royal family person, or institution? Right? Let's actually be specific here, Emily. Royal family or the institution?
Oh, I guess she's...
You guess or you know, because again, this is just an assumption, isn't it? And I appreciate it's a really hard one.
From what no, it's fine. From what I've seen, people specifically said somebody within the family, which means that it would be the royal family. But from what I've seen as well, it has also been clarified that it's not the Queen and it's not Philip. So it's somebody more likely to be, but I'm not saying that it definitely is, somebody like Charles or somebody, I can't remember, Eugenia, is that what she's called? I don't even know. But you get what I mean, right?
Yeah. Sort of.
So, but also, as a white person, right, I have no right to say whether a black person feels like, I'm not explaining this very well. As a white person, I have no right to tell a black person how they feel about somebody being racist towards them. Does that make sense? If they think that it is racism, then it is racism because it has obviously affected them in a negative manner.
Let me throw something in here then, Emily, okay? Let me throw something in here, and it's just something to ponder. So somebody feels like they have been racially aggrieved, okay? Like that was the narrative that was coming from Meghan. Is it not therefore okay to say that you don't agree with them, or you don't believe it, or you don't understand it, whilst not disagreeing with them? As in, you can have your opinion and say what you feel, but am I not allowed to disagree with you? Just the way you phrase that as a white person. I'm not saying you would say, no, you can't have that feeling, but are you not equally allowed to say, I disagree with you?
Oh, wow. I guess that gets into a lot of, like, Black Lives Matter things almost, doesn't it?
Well, it gets into a lot of, like, you know, it gets into a lot of people matters.
Right, okay.
And remember, all opinions are welcome here, and that is my philosophy. You know, that is the around the campfire philosophy, you know?
I understand. I guess that, like, okay, so I have a bias because I am a white, brought up relatively middle to middle upper class person who had a highly racist stepfather growing up. And so when I see people And I've seen him a lot of times saying things and people telling him that they're offended by what he's saying and him denying that. So it's a bit like, does he have the right to tell somebody that they're not offended by what he's saying? No, he doesn't. Does that make sense?
It does. And
in my personal opinion, anyway.
Yeah, and that's the key there, in your personal opinion. And what we can be very quick to do as people is judge everybody else by our opinions and our standards and our rules and our structure that we live our life with. And you know, and we just need to look at Corona, all right, the lockdown, etc. Corona's been a beautiful example of how all of us are hypocritical. We always were, but we just, 100%. But we just didn't realise it. Is that when we would see other people out there, we would say, you're not following the rules, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. But then if we needed to nip to the shop or do something or go around to see, a loved one, etc., it was okay for us to do it because we were just doing it in that moment. And also, we made a choice that it was going to be helpful for us in that moment. But if we saw anybody else doing it, God, my Lord, we would judge them. So we are hypocritical. We are, we have got biases, we have got prejudices, it's natural. And what I would say is that part of my around the campfire philosophy is indeed for maybes, and what I was looking to do, and I've been reaching out, is to get members of the English Defence League, to get members of Black Lives Matters, and actually bring them round that campfire. Because what we have when we get tribal mentalities, if you look at the anthropological history of human beings, and we'll sort of separate in our tribes and psychological safety and psychosocial ways that we'll fit in, and we become members of the herd. A lot of the time what we don't do, and this is what might be going on with Meghan Markle, is you've got people who love her and just want to say, no, we love her, you should listen to us. You've got people who dislike Meghan Markle and want to say, we dislike Meghan Markle and our opinions are right and that's all that matters. But what we don't really have is somewhere in the middle where we can say, all right, tell me your opinion, tell me your story, tell me your background, tell me why you've come to that conclusion, tell me why you feel your way.
It sounds like you're doing a great thing.
And so that's why I think so. I know some of my stuff can be evocative by encouraging people to be authentic in what they say. But I firmly believe it can only be a good thing is that if we take time to speak, but double the time to listen. Because then we understand the person and we walk, maybe it's not a mile in their shoes, but we walk a little bit in their shoes that can help us change our perspectives. Or at least if it doesn't change our perspective, it can give us a little bit more understanding about the perspective of others. And I think that's the magic by sharing stories and, breaking bread and having drinks around the campfire, is that we do get more in tune with ourselves as well. Emily, it's been emotional. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Emily from down south with a middle-class family and a stepfather who may need slightly aligned. Thanks very much for joining the show. Appreciate it, Emily. Thanks very much.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, brilliant. So again, anybody else like Emily out there, just ring in, give me your perspective, all right? Give me your perspective on the Meghan Markle Oprah interview. That's what I'm really after. I'm just looking at the comments here. Meghan's come from a broken home, broken marriage. She knows how to be strong in these situations. Every coloured friend I've had has had a chip on your shoulder. It's bred in them. Well, again, that is a generalisation, okay? That is a total generalisation. You are tarring a huge group of people, all right? A huge group of people with the same brush. And that's impossible to do. It's inaccurate. It's unfair. It's just not right in any sense of the word whatsoever. Let's have another look here. The press lies every day and been doing this for decades. Well, again, I think the press have to be more evocative now. Clickbait, etc. There's so many stories come out on a day-to-day basis. But let's face it, we are manipulated by what we read in the press. We are manipulated by... We think we've got such a concrete mindset, individual choice, like I'm going to do what I want to do. We got no idea how much we are manipulated, hundreds, thousands of times a day, advertised, all this type of headline stuff that actually goes on, that, we are just a puppet and someone else is pulling our strings. Let's also go to the comments here. Remember, if you want to join in with the live stream, you've got my phone number there, 0844 50 27 823. Any perspective, anything that you want to do, please join in, have a chat with me. It makes the live sessions just that little bit more informative. Tell us what you're thinking about the studio, all right? Tell us what you're thinking about the studio here. So we've got Jacqueline Robertson. I've tried calling about 50 times. Jacqueline, okay, if you're trying the number there, guys, if there is any problems with the tech with the calls coming in, can we have a look at that? Meghan is the only woman in recent years to be utterly vilified from day one. So Natalie, let's actually pick up that point there, all right? From day one, that's not accurate, all right? Maybe recently you could have an argument, you may have a point there, but definitely not from day one. All right, there was masses of positive press when they got together. Masses of positive press. There was also masses of positive press at the wedding as well. There was negative press, but I think it's unfair and inaccurate to say that, you know, it was just a blanket delivery of negative press, because the data is out there that we could tweak that perspective. You know, the data would inform our choice that actually there is a lot more positive press out there than we've probably been led to believe. In fact, let's talk about the avocado story now. All right, the avocado story. This was brought up on GMB this morning. We're going to get to Piers Morgan in a second, all right? Is Piers Morgan racist, or is he just giving his opinion? That's the topic that we're going to be looking at, and we're going to be dealing with it head on, all right? Around the campfire, let's listen, let's learn, let's share opinions, all right? And again, there may be two camps, you know, actually in place here, but let's start sharing stories to see if we can change our perspective. Not necessarily being manipulated, just by learning, by sharing, by being open, being a bit more collaborative. So the avocado story, all right? The avocado story, what we had, is where I've got Suzie. Suzie, I'll come back. Suzie from South Yorkshire, stay on the line. I'll come back to you in 2 minutes. The avocado story. This was what we saw within the Oprah Winfrey interview, all right? So it was 2 headlines, one for Kate and one for Meghan. And the one for Kate was, let's say, positive. I can't remember. In fact, if you do it, please put it in the comments there. All right? It was something around, you know, Kate's pregnant, or she's basically having an avocado, and doesn't she look wonderful? And then we had a headline which was, Meghan's had an avocado, and avocados are associated with, you know, the world crashing down, everybody dying, the sun never shining again. That's an exaggeration, admittedly, but that was the feeling. There was a positive feeling with Kate. There was a negative feeling on exactly the same subject as avocados. Now, what Piers Morgan did say, and I actually agreed with him on this, or at least I was curious to explore, because there did seem a truth there, is that if you had took 1,000 headlines about Kate and 1,000 headlines about Meghan, then what you would have is a mixed bag of both. And he identified some really hard-hitting negative press that Kate had received as well. And what Piers Morgan offered this morning was that that headline was specifically chosen to amplify, to solidify what Piers called it, you know, Meghan's desire to project the negative association on the press. Now, admittedly, if you take those that one headline and compare them next to each other, nobody could disagree. It would seem on the face of it that Meghan was treated unfairly. Kate was treated in a more positive light. But Piers's point was, if you compared 1,000 and 1,000, you'd probably see that it balances out. Maybe it's not balanced out, but it wasn't going to be, like, you couldn't take that one example and say, this is the British press, okay, this is the British press. So that for me wasn't interesting. Again, what do you think? Let us know in the comments, in the Facebook comments and on YouTube. Is that, have we give Meghan, you know, that one-stop shop label? Has Meghan lived up to that? Or is Meghan, what Piers has said, maybe he's on this occasion, and again, he wasn't, you know, generalising, that on this occasion she's used specific data and manipulated that data, utilised that data in order to create a certain feeling. But we'll come back to that. Suzie from South Yorkshire. Suzie, thank you very much for ringing in. Can you hear me? Tell me a little bit about where you're from, Suzie.
Oh, hi, Bruce. Well, I'm from Doncaster in South Yorkshire.
Fantastic. Great that you've joined on the show today. So, Suzie, give me your opinion on the situation, what's going on.
Well, you did specifically mention about the Oprah Winfrey interview.
Yes.
And I wanted to touch on the big issue that she may have never actually ever known who Harry or the royal family was.
So what? Sorry, Suzie, say that again. So she never knew the royal family very well. Is that what you said?
Yeah, there's been a lot of how could she possibly have never known who Harry was very well or know nothing about the royal family.
Sure. So on that aspect, that was something that I covered. And again, that was something that confused me. Now, just because it confuses me doesn't mean that it's right, doesn't mean that it's wrong. Because I will judge the world based on my own perceptions, my beliefs, okay? I am judgmental. You know, you hear the phrase, don't judge a book by its cover. I judge everybody I meet in an instant. We are hardwired to do that, okay? We are absolutely hardwired to do that. But where that judgment comes from is that because it's not normal to me, all right? It's not normal to me. So when I heard that, and again, I'll get your opinion in a second here, Suzie, is that, yeah, she researched. In fact, we've actually got a body language clip coming up in a little bit where she said that she didn't know who Harry was that well. And that I think the words were that she didn't Google the royal family. Now, my opinion, and it is just my opinion, I sat there and thought, come on, this is not the Smiths over the road. This is not your childhood sweetheart that you're marrying. Like, this is the most famous, as far as I'm aware, yeah, the most famous family potentially in the world. And you've told me that you haven't done any reading on them. You haven't Googled Harry. You're going to marry Harry, and you haven't found out about like anything about the royal family. Now, that could be true. Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt. That could be true. That sits across here. But what then happens is, because it sounds so unrealistic, it sounds so untruthful, then what a lot of people do, including me, was like, no, absolutely not. There is no way that you haven't Googled that. There is no way that you haven't found out about this. Is the royal family. So whether it's true or not, I think Meghan, by saying that, because a lot of people like you, like I, would have thought, no, that just doesn't sit right, then that casts a shadow on everything else that she says, because inside her inner voice is saying, no, she's lying. It doesn't mean that she is, but that's the feeling that she created by saying that. Does that make sense to you, Suzie?
Yeah, absolutely. And I, along probably with most of the people that saw that, had the same feeling. But rather than jump to the whole, she's a liar, she's manipulating, I mean, you'd think with the way people are writing that Harry didn't have a mind of his own. But maybe, I mean, she wanted to look cool, perhaps, and was like, oh, yeah, I didn't really know who he was. But the press got hold of it. It's over-sensationalised the fact that she didn't Google him, she didn't know who he was. And then could she really tell the truth after that?
Mm-hmm. And also, I think you raise a valid point. You know, I say with that, we are quick to judge other people. It's like, I've said lots of stuff before in a conversation. Sometimes I get nervous when I'm doing public speaking. In fact, I always get nervous when I'm doing public speaking. It's part of my preparation method. I get excited, you know. My sort of heart starts beating, my palms start sweaty, but then I go on the stage, and that's it. I always say it's the Lee Evans effect for me. It's a bit like I need that to go on stage, and I'm a very effective public speaker. But when I'm in conversation with somebody, sometimes because I don't like silence, or I just carried away, or I get exaggerated, you know, I can get excited about it, is that I will say something that I don't mean. Suzie, you'll say something that you don't mean. Everybody on this call, you know, says something that they don't mean. And I think whether it's right or wrong, unfortunately, people can only go off what Meghan did say, not what she might have meant, because again, that's an interpretation, or what she didn't say, or what she should have said. So I think, in that aspect, I can understand why people have said that. Yeah, I can understand why people have said that, because she did say that. Whether or not she meant it is a debatable point, Suzie. Would you agree with that? Would you think that's fair, a sort of fair and balanced way to look at it?
100%, yeah.
Okay, so give me another point that you sort of got on here. You've sort of mentioned Meghan being vilified for saying that she didn't know the royal family. Have you got any other feelings or specific points that you would like to discuss, Suzie?
Yeah, as I came on, you were talking about the press, the avocado issue. My personal feelings, again, my own feelings, not to say it was, what was actually happening is that the press like to seem to pit one against the other. So you've got Kate, who's almost the next Diana as such, and then you've got Meghan, she's, you know, an interloper from another country. Is she right for Harry? And it's almost like, oh, look, she did this, you know, she's done that. And again, I think it's like, like you said, clickbait almost, but it generates within ourselves and the public, that, oh, well, she isn't good enough. Oh, maybe she's manipulating, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know what? And I think that's a fair point. The press coverage has got to be evocative. Like, it's very rare where you'll pick up a newspaper and it's full of good, positive stories, is it? There's always some type of, excitement, desire, intrigue, some type of friction going on. Because again, let's actually bring it around the campfire. As humans, we like that. We like a bit of excitement. We like, ooh, what's happening here? If it's too good, it's, that there needs to be the odd good story in there, because we like that. Young children, elderly people, animals, that type of stuff pulls at our heartstrings. But there needs to be that evocative content, and I think that is a good question. In fact, let me know in the comments here, would you agree with Suzie that, the actual press has created that team effect, Kate versus Meghan? And it might not even have existed, all right? It might not have been there, but they've actually created that feeling. They've created that narrative that is now going on to the point where, and again, I'll offer you this, Suzie, I don't know if you agree with me, there's a potential that the press doing that have actually created that friction between Meghan and Kate, even though, it possibly didn't exist before. What would your perspective be on that, Suzie?
I'd agree. I mean, you can't help but have an emotion to something you read, something you see, especially if it's something personal. Mm-hmm. So I can read something or watch something and then say I come to your channel and watch your perspective. It's almost like being given a reality check.
Yeah, sure.
It's not perhaps what I immediately thought. And if you've not got someone there to give you the reality check, someone to sort of say, actually, let's just look a bit more clearly at it, your own feelings and emotions can run away with it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I think you've offered some fair points, some points to ponder, some points to probe. I think there's, that example of the press playing one against the other. Again, that is the headlines that we read. So if we are reading that party A is fantastic and beautiful and positive, etc., we will believe that party A is fantastic, beautiful and positive. If party B is manipulative, is the devil, is controlling, etc., and that's all we're reading, because again, we don't go around the house for tea. You might, Suzie, you might have a personal invite. I certainly don't. But we can only go off, those headlines, and those headlines then inform our biases, our opinion, our prejudices on the things that we are directly reading about. So, Suzie from South Yorkshire, thank you very much for coming along. Appreciated to the Believe in Bruce live show. And I think what Suzie mentioned there, how much have we been manipulated by the press? How much headlines, stories, ongoing competition between Kate and Meghan that have been put forward by the press, how much has that actually impacted us, affected us? How much is it skewed? Yeah, skewed. Has it taken the love from being in the room when there should be more love towards Meghan? I'm not saying there should, I'm not saying there shouldn't. I'm just interested in it. I'm interested. So now, what we're going to move on to, again, if you've got to think about Meghan, please call in 0844 502 7823. Remember, if you're giving vague and ambiguous statements, let's have a chat about it, all right? If there's data here that we're not aware of, let's have a chat about that as well. All opinions, however controversial they are, as long as they're put forward in a positive and proactive way, are welcome on the Believe in Bruce channel, around the campfire. We're only going to get better when we share stories, when we get stuff off our chest, when people listen to us, and when we listen to others as well. So what I'm going to do here is going to go into a few clips, all right? I'm going to go into a few body language clips that I've covered that show me doubting Meghan and me believing Meghan. Now, body language, let's get this sorted, okay? Body language is about comfort versus discomfort. So I've been teaching all over the world now, all right, for 15 years in the corporate market, about body language psychology, all right, how this can impact in there. If you just put that on there, Terry, thanks very much. I'll come back to that. So when we talk about body language and psychology here, all right, where I come from is from a psychological safety perspective. Everybody's interested in the lies, okay? Everybody's interested in the lies. Who's lying? Who's telling the truth? But where I use it from, again, around that campfire philosophy, is very much from a mental health perspective. Very much from a mental health perspective. So if you're talking to somebody and you can see that there's a lack of synchrony there, there's a lack of congruence there, dig that a little bit deeper. Try and find out what's going on. If you've got a team, if you're a manager, so I get brought in to do direct reports, team building, high-performing teams, etc. One of the concepts, one of the core ingredients into that is body language awareness. To notice what's not being said in order to get the best out of people. All right, in order to get the best out of people. And again, firstly, if you can bring in the graphic here, what I've done is I've been asked to provide some free resources. People say, oh, Bruce, give me some training. Where can I learn about this? So I've created a website, believeinbruce.com. Okay, believeinbruce.com. If you go to that website, you can find out a little bit more about me. But also, what you can do is you can sign up for free resources. I'm going to start putting sort of bi-weekly little news shot together that'll talk about body language, that'll talk about the head and the heart, talk about psychology. Little things that not only can you apply to yourself, because hey, we all need a bit of self-love and a bit of self-development and improvement, me included. I often find out when I'm typing that, I could actually use this on myself, or I would benefit from that. I use it as a nudge to actually remind myself to go away and try that technique. But also use it on the people around you. Yeah, not just the body language stuff and find out who's lying and who's not, or to improve your lying skills. But also, to maybe if you've got a manager within a team, if you've got a partner, yeah, anybody who's got a head and a heart, you can use these skills for. So what I'm going to do now is we are going to go into the first body language clip. All right, the first body language clip. And this is, I've just got a little list here that I'm going to go through. So it's Meghan talking about the initial connection with Harry, okay? And what we see with Meghan, and I think this is one of the confusing things, is we see a mixture of behavior that you could say is definitely truthful, but also maybe is not so truthful. Again, comfort versus discomfort. So when she's talking about Harry, and the video will come up in a second here, is that what we've got is when she's talking about the first time they met and that initial connection, what we did have was she smiles, her eyes open, as you would expect. Okay, they met for the first time. But then what you see is you see the arm coming up and the Pinocchio moment. Now, this is right at the start of the Oprah interview, okay? Right at the start of the Oprah interview. So the arm comes up and it touches the nose. But also, the hand goes across the mouth. All right? You'll see how she does this quite clearly. Now, what we've got here is a prime example of someone stopping their true thoughts coming out. There's something going on. Remember, the nose touches discomfort. And then the block, the barrier, is she is stopping what she is thinking coming out of her mouth. Now, the problem with this is you've got that contraindication type behavior going on. You've got positive, you've got negative, you've got truthful, you've got lies. Now, let's be fair, okay? She could feel uncomfortable about anything there. And I'm just going to put this out there, okay? It could be that when her and Harry met on that first night, how can I put this? They were enjoying some type of robust physical activity when they first met, or at least in that initial period, that maybe would be frowned upon. That's where you could see that hand, that nose, because it's something that she doesn't want to talk about. It's something that she knows would be viewed as maybe not ladylike. Again, whether it's right or wrong, who cares? But that's the thought that she had. So it could range from something like that, where she's a bit embarrassed about what happened when they first met, to actually, when she's talking about they met because of the causes, that's a lie. Okay, and I'm just giving both sides of the spectrum here to be fair and balanced. Okay, that actually, was it a plan? Did it work out? Is she happy with that conviction that actually she got what she was going for? And it could be anything in between there, but what we can categorically say, and that's why I would love to have, Meghan in front of me, because when I notice these signals, when I'm interviewing, when I'm questioning people, is that's where I stop, that's where I zone in, that's where I start that, digging that little bit deeper. What was going on at that particular moment when there was a lack of congruence? But this is what we'll see with Meghan. So first, if we can bring that clip up, please. You'll see here, Meghan, watch the nose touch there. And watch where the hand goes. The Pinocchio moment, all right? That is the Pinocchio moment. So she's talking about something, but there is dual purpose to that. There is the positive stuff and there is the negative stuff. Okay, let's move on. Now, this second one, they're talking about the wedding chapel. All right, talking about the wedding chapel. And Meghan, on this particular point, Oprah is like, oh, this is it's a fantastic day. It is, she's obviously got her narrative of someone who was there, who was actually watching it. But what we see with Meghan here, what I've got my notes, is that you'll see her right hand, within the clip, self-soothes her thigh. So again, that's I am comforting myself. Now again, I get this, you know, Meghan maybe wasn't comfortable on that day, or there's something around the wedding that she is suffering that uncomfortable feeling. But also, you see a number of eye blocks as well. And with that, you know, with the self-soothe, hey, it's okay. It's when you see people doing that on their arm as well, they're telling themselves that it's going to be okay. And with the number of eye blocks, that's the first reaction that comes out that tells us, we don't know why, okay, we don't know why because we can't ask Meghan. But we do know that when that wedding is mentioned, she feels uncomfortable about this. So let's see the second clip here.
I started listening to that song, Going to the Chapel.
You see that? It was just a little self-soothe there with the right-hand side. And you can see the number of eye blocks there. But also what's really important on that one is we've got an adrenal dump. Yeah, an adrenal dump. Again, the thalamus. When they're talking about that wedding is taken evocative memories that's come from the hippocampus. Okay? The hippocampus, the thalamus, the amygdala, the pituitary gland, the adrenal gland. What we've got here is that you'll see her lean. She actually moves and she leans. All right, at that particular point, she's got that a little adrenaline dump. So 3 behavioural things there that equal a behavioural cluster is that the self-soothe, the eye blocks, and then the lean as well. When she's recollecting her memories of the wedding day, it's most definitely uncomfortable, all right, definitely uncomfortable. Now, the third one that we're going to look at here is when Oprah is talking about when you marry and you're marrying into the royal family, okay? And what we see here, this is what I think it was Suzie who was talking about on the calls before. When Suzie was talking about it, it says it was about, I think it was Suzie, forgive me, I'm not that good remembering names. But there was somebody on the call before who said, you know, of course, when you come into the royal family, you know who the royal family is. But on this one here, you see the eye blocks going. Now, I don't know whether this is truthful or not. You know, it's actually debatable. And it's debatable because, again, our inferences, our biases are being affected by the first thought that comes into our head. Of course you know who the royal family are. Of course you know who they are. Of course you've looked into them. Of course you've done your research, all right? But again, when you see here, there is some displays of behaviour from the eye blocks, from the position and where she's looking, that I would love to ask her that little bit question. Maybe she did offer it and she didn't mean it, but it definitely looks like an untruth. So we can see that video, please.
Who gets married knows that you are really marrying the family too. But you weren't just.
Yeah, so where you've got that elongated eye block, okay, that is just shutting it off, all right? That is just shutting it off fully. So what we've got so far, and I'm just going to go because I know we've got a caller on the line here, is that we've got some displays from Meghan that right at the start of the interview, okay? Right, and I'm only saying this right at the start, there are some behaviours that don't add up with what she's saying. There is that side of discomfort. And when I say that don't add up, it's like when she's thinking about the wedding, there are signs of discomfort. It's about, okay, what was going on in that wedding? What's really going on? I would like to prize those thoughts out a little bit more. So I'm not saying she's lying here. What I'm saying is she's got a number of behavioural displays that indicate discomfort, that to be fair and balanced, I would like to probe and ask more barbed questions, specific questions, to try and find out what's making her feel that way. So we've got Kyle on the phone. Kyle, welcome to the Believe in Bruce show. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Kyle. Where you're from, how old are you, and what your perspectives are on this situation, please.
35 from Hertfordshire.
Nice to meet you, Kyle. 35 from Hertfordshire. Thanks for joining. I appreciate it.
Nice to meet you. I'm a fan.
Oh, we've got a fan. We've got the first fan on the live stream. Thank you very much, Kyle.
Yeah, no, I do watch your videos. Basically, I do, like, you know, she's mentioned, having suicidal thoughts, so that, and always has to be taken serious, and, you know, the mental health side of things, I always believe, you know, should be taken very seriously. My main concern when kind of watching the highlights of the interview that I did is that it all seems very one-sided in her explanation. And, I mean, we've all had disagreements and falling outs with people, and you usually have to take some accountability, you know, for the role you've played in it, whereas the vibe I got was that they were kind of persistent victims, and situations are very rarely, you know, one-sided. There can be misinterpreting of what people have said and done, and where some bold claims have been made, but then there's a lot of vagary
because other details weren't given. It's kind of like a storm's been kicked up, and you know, and it feeds off of the kind of, I don't know, coverage the media's been, you know, lapping up over the last year, which is racial tension. And then I do understand why some people might be upset at the timing, and I do worry about the fact that anyone who expresses that, you know, putting aside possible racism and mental health issues, just in general, the act of criticising Meghan and Harry somehow inherently means you're racist is a very dangerous kind of thinking for our society to go down, because it just seems like a way of shutting people up and closing debate. I don't think anybody saying, you know, I'm unhappy with some elements of the interview means that they are racist. They may genuinely be supporters of their country. You know, the monarchy is an institution that's been around long before us and will be here long after.
So, Kyle, if I can just interrupt there. So, do you actually think then that people are scared to comment on anything for fear of being labelled strongly? That, you know, what was picking up there is like, if you go against Meghan, you're a racist. Is that what you're trying to say, Kyle? Or at least that's the feeling.
I obviously personally don't believe that, but that is what I've seen a lot. I mean, today, I've had a lot of people message me in secret.
Okay, and so I mean, let's sort of see in the comments here. Do you feel that where if somebody was to, and again, I would I would ponder that, I would explore that, you know, but Facebook comments and in the YouTube comments, you know, is that the situation that's been brewed up now with the interview and, you know, with Piers Morgan going, and we're going to get on. So if anybody has got a feeling about Piers Morgan, please start ringing in now. I'll get you on next. But, you know, are we scared? Has there been, you know, has our campfire been taken away from us where we can't actually, you know, say what we want in a constructive way for fear of if we go against Meghan in any capacity, we are automatically labelled as racist. So, you know, if you do agree with that, if that is your perspective, as Kyle has just put across there, then, you know, let us know in the comments. Let me know what you're feeling. Do you think we are brewing up a fear of potential, you know, where we're expected to be mute? Now, the danger with that, Kyle, if I can share, you know, sort of my perspective on there, is that when you limit people's freedom of speech, then you push things underground. When you push things underground, then they become stronger, they become more concentrated, they become more powerful, they become more determined that their conviction is right. That's why I encourage that around the campfire philosophy. You know, tell me your story. All right, well, what about this? What about that? You know, actually listening to people's views and opinions. There could be 10 different answers, if you will, around the campfire, and not one answer is greater than the other or weaker than the other, but it's just different perspectives. And I think that if there is a fear where people can't say how they are feeling, then I think that's really detrimental to conversation. I think it's really detrimental to people coming together and sharing stories and, you know, coming around the campfire, stuff that we've done since cave people time. You know, we've always come around the fire and shared and learned and learned together, you know, those shared experiences. So for me, you know, my perspective is I hope that's not occurring. I hope people still have the psychological safety to say how they feel in a constructive way. Whether we've got, you know, whether someone's coming from the left or someone's come from the right, either which is absolutely fine. But if it's said in a constructive way, then anyone should have the psychological safety to sort of say how they feel. Kyle, just when you're on about Piers Morgan then, so when you're talking about that, do you, and I'm going to ask you outright here, because again, Piers Morgan is now quit his job on GMB, Good Morning Britain. To ask you straight out, because the news reports are out there, the headlines are out there, do you believe, yes or no, Piers Morgan is a racist?
No, and I worry about the society that believes it acceptable to make such big inferences off of what people say, especially when they are explicitly stating what their concerns or issues are. And then somebody is taking that and placing their own interpretation above it. And then not only that, giving them a socially repulsive label of racist to kind of shut them up and dissuade any further debate, because maybe they're worried about, you know, facts. For instance, when Piers started bringing up that actually the negative press began when they were preaching about global warming and flying around jets, and that's when public sentiment towards them began to change.
Sure.
People don't want to hear that, so then they just keep going back to the race issue. I mean, today, like I said, I've spoken to a lot of people who have made, you know, on social media, for instance, they're making indirect statuses about, you know, their frustration, but they'll be very open in a private message, and I understand why. I'm very open.
Would you agree
it,
Piers Morgan did not like Meghan Markle?
Yeah, I would agree that he doesn't like her, but...
Would you then agree that him not liking her, more so than not, was skewing his bias, was skewing his feeling to the point where... Now, I'm not saying he didn't. I never heard Piers say anything positive about Meghan Markle, okay? And that's not to say that he didn't. That's, you know, I don't watch Piers Morgan all the time. You know, if you say something on Twitter, I don't watch all GMB from start to finish, okay? But what I did catch, he was never positive about Meghan Markle, and I think that would be factual to say. Out of positive or negative, he tended to be negative about Meghan Markle. Was it because of the colour of her skin, or was it because he just didn't like her? I think that's the area here. That's something that I would like to explore.
Yeah.
You know, is it that actually he just didn't like the lass, which we're all entitled, you know, we all dislike people in our lives, and again, it's that confirmation bias, because I think I think he's a weather reporter, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the one who was fairly challenging. I thought he was accurate. I thought he, you know, gave a very an eloquent argument about Piers. Well, maybe there's something over here you could think about, you know, and he brought it to his attention that she cut you off. You know, she didn't respond, she didn't come in, she didn't want anything to do with you, which is absolutely her right, okay? Which is absolutely her right to do that. And then you basically took umbrage, and then since then, everything's been negative. What's your thoughts on that, Kyle?
I do believe, like, you know, you are exactly right there. And I do, in my personal opinion, I can't say it's fact, believe that, you know, he has negative sentiment, you know, or has had it brewing towards her for some time. But I don't think even somebody who does not like you can state a fact about you that is true. You know, or can even somebody, you know, just because he doesn't like her, it does not mean that some of the views that he may have reflected aren't those that are out there in the general populace.
Sure. All right then, Kyle.
So yeah, I just think I do think that perhaps he was Piers Morgan would not be my choice, you know, a person to go, you know, here's how Britain feels about the whole situation. Piers, go ahead and sum it up for us. But I do just believe that to then make the jump that it's racism, I just worry about that, because, you know, I am a mixed race black man myself, so, you know, I know racism, and there are times when, you know, it's very overt, and there's times when it's covert.
But you don't believe Piers Morgan is a racist, Kyle? I'm just going, because we've got some other people on the line here, buddy.
I believe that you would have to see a lot more. You would need evidence. I'm an evidence man. You can't just take one situation and then label someone for life.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Kyle from Hartford. Kyle, my super fan, thanks very much for joining in, Kyle. Really appreciate it. And again, I think, remember, what I would like to hear is, have you got a strong view on Piers Morgan? Yeah. Do you actually think Piers may be racist? Do you think that he has been out of order? Please call the number 0844 5027823. Remember, all opinions are welcome, however controversial they are, as long as they're put forward in a positive, solution-based way. Okay, we are happy to accept them on the call. So if you have got a really strong feeling that you do think Piers Morgan was racist, or there's racist connotations there, whatever that may be, 0844 5027823. Again, please ring in all your opinions. You know, it helps to make the show. I'm interested in learning. You know, I only know what I know, as I said at the start of the show. And I was watching Piers Morgan today. I was watching Piers Morgan chatting with the panel, okay, including the gentleman that he was having the discussion with when he decided to leave and he left the set. And there was, I thought, some fair points. I think, again, what can cloud our judgment, just like when Meghan said she never heard of Prince Harry, or she never heard of the royal family, or didn't do our research onto it. Let's be specific about, I didn't Google the royal family. A lot of us were like, oh no, you're lying, okay? And I think this can happen with Piers Morgan as well. It's how Piers asks his questions, and he does put himself on a pedestal where he demands the utmost honesty and accuracy from everybody he interviews, all right? Everybody he interviews. And again, I'm a hypocrite. Piers is a hypocrite. I remember watching a video. So if Piers asks somebody a question and they don't answer, he will quite rightly, strongly, forcefully, okay, engage them on that point. Say, you haven't answered, you haven't answered, you haven't answered. And I was watching a video about Piers Morgan and his drug use, all right? And I think it was on, is it LBC? I think London Broadcasting Corporation. You can go to, it's on YouTube. And what you see Piers Morgan do is he does the pacify and laugh, okay? Where he's given himself some space to think about it. And the question is, Piers Morgan, have you taken cocaine before? And Piers Morgan, thank you, Dev from St Helens. We'll come to Dev in a second. Piers Morgan doesn't answer the question. Doesn't answer the question. He goes around it and he gives some type of statement, all right? He gives some type of statement that, if somebody was to give him that answer, he wouldn't have it. He would be, it would be on it. He would be digging that little bit deeper. He would not let them move. So I do think Piers is a hypocrite, as I am a hypocrite, as we all can be hypocrites as well. But whether or not he's racist or not, that's the question. So we've got Dev from St Helens on the line. Dev, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Brilliant, Dev. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
I can indeed, Dev. Dev from St Helens. Thank you very much for joining the Believe in Bruce live stream. Dev, give me your opinion on Piers Morgan. That's what I'm interested in.
Well, he is a hypocrite, but I don't think he's a racist.
Yeah, would you say you're a hypocrite, Dev?
And I think he's been. I know. Listen, Bruce. I think he's been on a sticky wicket for a long time. A lot of people have said, "Oh, he's going to get sacked,"
right?
And it's happened. Because
well, he hasn't been sacked. He's left, hasn't he? He's left. Let's be factual. Well, he hasn't got sacked. Yeah. He left of his own accord.
Well, that's debatable. But he has been on a sticky wicket for a long time because of his antics. He can't keep his bloody mouth shut. I'm sorry for swearing, but he can't keep his mouth shut.
Okay.
He has to over-talk everybody. Okay. And it's always his opinion that's right.
And so do you not think then, but it's a character he plays, or it's, it could be a character he plays, or it's his, or it's his personality, but that's why people watch him. That's why people join in GMB, because that Piers is going to store the Hornets net. Like, it's an almost a required, characteristic of sort of behavioural display of what is needed in that position in order to make GMB, as popular as it is, Dev.
Well, have you heard of Chase Hughes off the behaviour panel?
No.
No, well, he's the same as you, behaviourist and whatever.
But he's not as good as me, but continue.
That everybody wears a mask, and that is Piers' mask. He's this bombastic, listen to me, I know everything. Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. Because he's been on bloody holiday when we was in lockdown. He's been out with Simon Cowell in a park, not social distancing. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. He's just a hypocrite. So do you think it's an accumulation of what he's done? You referred to him being on a sticky wicket for a while now. So do you think that this could be the sort of final nail in the coffin? And do you therefore, let me challenge you on that then, Dev, do you therefore, because of everything that's occurred, do you think we could be constructing this narrative around Piers right now that's actually based, it's a little bit like that iceberg where everything else he's done is below the surface, and this one thing that he's done in the interview, but he's basically said that, he doesn't believe Meghan Markle because of everything else that's occurred until that moment. That was the last straw on the camel's back. When actually, if you just took it as a singular action, a singular behaviour, a single, interaction, it probably wouldn't be that bad. But because of everything else that, is perceived to have done or has annoyed people, rightly or wrongly, if it's annoyed people, put that together, and that's why we've got the impact of this evening. I did watch it today, what happened, with I think it was Alex Beresford or something. Yeah,
that's right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Dave. Yeah.
I watched it this morning, and I think he's finally somebody got the better of him, and he's like, he's like a child. So he's done me out the pram. You know, one person too much is like, had a go at him, and he's like, how can you have a go at me? I'm Piers Morgan. You can't have a go at me.
Sure. Okay, then. So, do you think, and I get that, and I think there will be some people, maybe it's what, you know, the same happened with Meghan here, is that some people will rejoice in Piers Morgan because of the way he conducts his interviews, because of the way he delivers his questions, that they will rejoice in the fact that someone's put it back on him, if that makes sense. Okay. But. Yeah. You said at the start when you first come on that you didn't think Piers Morgan is racist. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's racist, no.
Right. And have you ever heard Piers Morgan say anything racist?
No.
Okay. Yeah. And like I haven't. But obviously there may be data out there that can contradict our beliefs. But it's interesting that the way it's being portrayed and some of the stories that are online now are bringing that racist connotation in. Is that to, you know, enhance their story? Is that clickbait? Have they actually got any evidence for that? That would be the question that I would be asking Dev, you know?
Apparently they used to be friends when she first come over to England.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't see them being I can't see them being on each other's Christmas card list right now. At least maybe it's not in 2021. Maybe it's 2022.
And then she's done something, or he's done something, and they've fallen out.
Yeah.
And so he's got the hump with her, and when he gets the hump with somebody, he's like a brat.
Brilliant. All right, Dev from St Helens, thank you very much for joining in.
Right.
Believe it. No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hang on, no, wish me luck, because I'm doing a course on the weekend.
All right.
Behavioural course.
Well, I wish you luck and good luck with your course on the weekend, Dev. I'm sure you'll smash it. Thanks very much, Bear. Appreciate it.
Bye.
So again, let's go there. Let's have a look in the comments here. Do you think, let's just call it. Let's ask the question. Do you think Piers Morgan is racist? You can go online. You can see the headlines. You can see the narrative that's trying to be built here. Let's have it in the comments there. Do you think Piers Morgan is racist, or do you just think he's being annoying? He's questioning. We've all joined on the bandwagon. I mean, I've got annoyed by it. He irritates me when he keeps going and going and going. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I'm not saying because he irritates me, he's a bad person. But let's have a comment here. So Piers Morgan is not a racist. Piers, you've taken all the attention off Meghan. He's a bully. Now, that could be interesting. Are we saying he's a bully because of his questioning techniques? We've got Michael Shelfer says no. Brunette girl, he's frustrated. Steph Shank, Steph, hello. Problem is Piers, that's gone up there. But Steph was saying no, he's not a racist, but he's a bully. So that's the thing. Is it because he's evocative? Is it because of his questioning technique? Is it because he's irritated us? That's the key. That actually we want to go in against him. We rejoice in someone's downfall. Again, that's normal human behaviour, isn't it? Yeah, it's normal human behaviour. Remember, if you have got any opinions on Piers, ring in. This is great to get the Q&A going backwards and forwards. 0844 5027 823. Got any opinion on Piers Morgan? Anything, remember, whether you're positive Piers Morgan, whether you're negative Piers Morgan, whether you're a pro Meghan Markle, whether you're negative Meghan Markle, all opinions are welcome here. But I do think that's one of the things about Piers. All right, I do think that's one of the things about Piers here. Where we've got an example of Piers is forcefully putting his views across, okay? Let's just relax. Whoa, let's just relax here, okay? Let's take it back a second. Thanks very much. Donovan will come to you in a second here. If we can forget we've ever met Piers Morgan, all right? Now, I know that might be hard to do, okay? But we need some love in the room here. This is where we need some love in the room, all right? We've never met Piers Morgan before. We've only listened to him for the past 2 days. He hasn't annoyed us. Yeah, he hasn't irritated us. He hasn't made us change the channel because we are just sick of his voice yammering on and only being interested in his own personal gains and endeavours, all right? If you were to just go off the past 2 days, would you say that Piers Morgan should leave GMB? Would you say that he should quit? Would you say that he should be sacked? Because if you actually listen to what he says, in my opinion, yes, he's forceful. Yes, he's abrupt. Yes, he doesn't listen much to other people. But that does not necessarily, or in fact, it doesn't then equate to what he's being called in the papers, Piers Morgan and those racist connotations. I would challenge that. I would offer that. I would explore that as in, let's have a look at the data for some of the phraseology, some of the labelling, the hurtful labelling, the negative labelling that's been used on Piers Morgan. Exactly as I would be saying about, let's look at some of the labelling and you know, that's been appropriate to Meghan Markle as well. You know, where's the justification for it? Where's the evidence for that? All right, where's the evidence for that? So we've got somebody on the line. Let's go back to the phone line now. Sorry, I forgot your name. The person come in. What's your name, where you're from, and what's your opinion, please? Oh, I've got Donovan. There it is, Donovan. Sorry about that, Donovan.
Donovan, yeah.
Donovan, where are you from Leicester?
All right, mate. Yeah.
Right, give me your opinion, Donovan. What would you like to say tonight?
Well, I'm not exactly a fan of Piers Morgan, right? However, I do not think that he's a racist. However, I do believe that every single time he talks about Meghan and Harry, he gets extremely emotional, right? You know, he gets really, really angry, and he gets upset, and he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve, right? To me, that doesn't sound like a racist. It just sounded like a jilted lover himself.
A jilted lover. Are you saying he wanted to marry Meghan and she rejected his advances? Is that what you're trying to say here, Donovan, are you?
Yeah, I do. When you think about it, right? I mean, I don't think he's
so you're trying to say that Piers Morgan has said some type of romantic affiliation, desire towards Meghan Markle, she's knocked him back, and that's why, you know, and that's why he's got these feelings, Donovan? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. And the reason why is that when you think about it, I mean, you're a psychologist, you know, there's two ways. When you actually infatuate with somebody, right, you either accept the rejection or you don't. When you accept the rejection as an adult, you move on. When you don't accept the rejection, you get very, very angry. Right? Mm-hmm. You know, and you will say very...
But come on, Donovan, Piers Morgan's he's married, he's got kids. Are you sort of really trying to get me to buy into... What's that?
Yeah, you could still have an affair or even think about an emotional affair with somebody even if you're married, you know?
Yeah, well, so are you saying Piers Morgan mentally thought about having an affair with Meghan Markle and in his head she mentally rejected him, which is why he's got these feelings? This is a great conversation we're getting here, Donovan.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of fantasy going, and it doesn't fit his narrative.
Well, a little bit like in the schoolyard, that if you had a girl who you had fancied, you'd sort of annoy her, picking her just to try to get her attention. Is that what you're saying?
I do, because when you think about it,
definitely a different perspective.
Every single time he actually talks about Meghan, right? Go back and look at the GMTV videos, right? What's his emotional state? Mm-hmm. What's he like? How is he behaving? And that's your job, right? I'm just saying what I've observed, right? And what he says and how he says it. It's not just a matter of what he says; it's how he says it.
Yeah, there is definitely factually more energy there when he starts speaking about Meghan and Harry. We could concur, we confirm.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Other people that speak. Yeah, when you look at other people speak about him. Yeah, you go and say that you turn on the BBC or whatever. They're very factual, matter of fact. Mm-hmm. You know. Meghan and Harry did this, and Meghan and Harry did that. Right? Mm-hmm. That's it. They may say a few words after that. But Piers Morgan, he goes on and on and on and on and on. Why? Why is that?
Mm-hmm. Now, is it that he's going on and on and on because he's being asked the question, or are they doing things in the in the public eye that deserve to be reported on, and then he's got a perspective on that, Donovan?
He's got, initially, when he's talking about when they were doing the green, when he's flying on the plane and all that kind of stuff, yeah? Okay, fair enough. You could reasonably argue that. You go, okay, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
You know, we can question it. Not a problem, right? But when you actually put, especially yesterday, I don't believe her, she's lying, I don't believe that she's trying to kill herself, blah, blah, blah. Hang on a minute. So how would he know how Meghan's feeling?
But he's not saying that though, Donovan, is he? All right, and again, you're making some very valid points here, but he's saying, I don't believe her. And he, admittedly, you know, let's be specific. Admittedly, he doesn't believe a lot of what she said. He's very rarely positive about Meghan. But is he not entitled? Is he not entitled to disbelieve it, Donovan?
Bruce, is that when you have a bias, and you know that, when you have a bias, no matter what the person says, right, you're always going to have that negative view. You're not going to sit down at the back and just listen and try to be empathetic.
That's confirmation bias, absolutely. You are looking to solidify your existing opinion of the thing or person that you're thinking about, absolutely. And I do believe that's within there.
So for me, right, he's not in a position to report on what happened the other day, right? He isn't sort of like, you know, he's not going to give a fair and balanced view of it.
I would agree with that. He's definitely not going to give a fair and balanced view. He's just giving his perspective on it, yeah?
Right. And then when Alex Beresford said, just because you were rejected by her, yeah, okay, and she knocked you back, what she has a right to.
Alex Beresford, I think it was, he said she cut you off, so yeah, I don't want to say rejected, because that does give that sort of attractive, maybe his relationship type connotation there. But she cut you off, yeah? She cut you off.
Right, yeah, and what did he do after that?
Yeah, and then Alex Beresford offered that after that moment there, everything has been negative about Meghan Markle, yeah?
Yeah, and I don't think you see the thing. As soon as he said that, he got up and he walked away.
Yeah.
Right now.
Maybe there was some learning that went on there. Maybe the penny dropped for him. We don't know. Maybe he felt really bad about himself. You know, I'm not saying he did.
Right, and I think that was his downfall, right? Because he got really emotionally sort of like attached to his feelings, right? Rather than a neutral sort of journalist. Yeah. His emotions got sort of like invested in it. That's why every time he speaks about Meghan, there always seems to be anger. Always.
Yeah.
Right? No, right, okay. The job that you do, when you speak about somebody and you're in a neutral position, do you get angry or sad, or you just stay neutral?
No, so I am human. Okay, I am human. I get angry, I get sad, I feel emotions, all right? But the benefit of being in tune with your emotions is that somebody can myth me off straight away, Donovan, all right? But the benefit of being more in tune with your emotions is that you are allowed to and able to recognize those emotions quicker, so you can reduce them. So my point is, you can't stop feeling like someone, I will be doing a session with someone backwards and forwards. Yeah. They will say certain things that will evoke a reaction in me, but I am then aware of it more, I would say just a little bit more than Joe Public or Joanne Public, yeah? To then say, okay, this is how I'm feeling, but that's because of my perspective, which allows me to come back down my ladder to take a more balanced and neutral approach. So, you know, it would be inaccurate, unprofessional of me to say I'm always neutral. I do feel things, I'm just able to get them back under control a little bit quicker than the average person, if that makes sense.
And you behave as a professional, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay. In regards to Piers Morgan, right, who's meant to be a journalist for, 30 years.
Yeah.
Right, he's interviewed lots of people. What, and when you compare, we compare the people he's interviewed, what was he like?
No, I get that. So are we saying then, let's actually get to the crux of this matter then, is have we got an issue with Piers Morgan interacting, thinking, speaking, engaging differently when he's talking about Meghan and Harry, as opposed to when he may be talking about it? Like, is that the thing here? Let's just sort of sum this up. So is it the thing what we think he's being unfair because he doesn't treat the topic of Meghan and Harry the same as other topics, but then is he not allowed to do that?
Is he not? No.
Is he not allowed to feel how he wants about people now, Donovan? Are we going to tell him how to feel about people, yeah?
Yeah. He can feel how he wants to feel. But if he's sitting in front of the TV and he's supposed to talk about the news, and he's supposed to lead a discussion, he's supposed to be what's the word I'm looking for? The facilitator.
Or agitator. Again, because it is an entertainment program. That's why millions of people, right, okay, let's get it on the table here. That's why millions of people watch GMB every morning. Not because of the news, not because they're informative, because Piers Morgan agitates and rattles the people who he brings on. That's why we're watching, Donovan. Would you agree with that, yes or no?
I would agree with that, but there's a line that he actually draws, right? There's a line.
And that line will change for everybody, though, Donovan. Like,
that's right, exactly.
What's acceptable to me may be not acceptable to you, and you know, when you've got 20 million people watching
Piers
it.
Morgan, even Piers Morgan's got a line, right? Like, for example, he spoke to a guy called Akala about knife crime.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, he's got a view. The way he spoke to him about knife crime, and he's got his own opinions about it, was far different from the way he talks about Meghan. Look it up yourself, and you can see, right, just by the way he spoke to him, was a lot different about the subject matter to what he spoke about Meghan.
Okay. Donovan, I'll have to end you there. We've got some other people on the call, but thank you very much. Donovan put some really salient points across there, and I think what Donovan was driving at, and you know, and it would be very hard to argue with what Donovan was driving about, is that there seems to be an unfairness. There is an imbalance between, you know, the behavioural or the emotional baseline he offers when he's speaking about Meghan and Harry, compared to that emotional baseline when he is speaking about other topics that are not Meghan and Harry. So again, we're after a couple of more callers coming in here. I think one's just dropped off there. If we can have a couple of more callers in, tell me what you're feeling about the situation. The specific thing that we're looking at now is Piers Morgan racist, because that's what he's been labelled, all right? Is there examples of Piers Morgan where he's displayed, you know, racial behaviour, racist behaviour towards Meghan Markle? Or is it that whatever for the reason, he just dislikes her, and because of who Meghan Markle is, then there's an association there that, oh, Piers Morgan is a racist? All opinions are welcome. Again, that's just the question, all right? What are you feeling? What are you finding? You know, the number's there, 0844 5027823. That's 0844 5027823. Be great to get a couple of more people in before the live stream completes here. So again, as we near the end of the live stream, it's been going, it was only meant to be going on for an hour, we've gone on, but again, it's great, the question, the answers, the comments that we're getting in here. You know, when we're talking about this, again, we've got Anna, I repeat, Piers is not a racist. Piers loves everyone and Meghan Markle. Oh, that's a very interesting perspective there. People say Harry is the husband Diana needed. No, he's not. If he was, you joined the interview first. Now, again, Harry joined later on. When you read online, you think, well, Meghan Markle constructed that. She was in control. She wanted to be there. We don't know that. Okay, factually, we do not know that. We've got no idea why Harry come on second. Was it really the interview that Oprah wanted was with Meghan Markle because of all the intense focus that she receives from the media here in the UK? You know, was that the real points of evocative information, you know, conversation that could be drawn out within that interview? They had spent a lot of money on that interview. Yeah, they had spent a lot of money, again, just paying Oprah for it. So they needed the entertainment, they needed the excitement, they needed the desire. Okay, last person that we've got Debbie from Northern Ireland. Debbie from Northern Ireland. Hello, can you hear me, Debbie?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Hey, Debbie, thank you very much for joining me.
Hello.
Debbie, I do apologise if my voice is a little bit hoarse. I tend to get carried away on my videos, so hopefully you can still understand my Geordie accent from across there in Northern Ireland. So give me a little bit about your perspective. Thanks very much. Give me a little bit about your background, our perspective on this background that we're talking about.
Okay, first of all, not everyone watches it because of Piers Morgan. It's because we don't want to pay for the TV licence for BBC.
Right, okay.
And we need to watch the news, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Right, Piers Morgan. I have switched my TV off so often because of his bullish behaviour.
Yeah.
Even the way that he overspeaks with Suzanne. And if you see that interview where he walked out this morning, you only have to look at the body language of everybody that was around that desk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if Piers Morgan had looked back on that, and he would see the disgust, the embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
And he, I believe, is portraying the UK as bigots like him. And we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all this...
What about Piers Morgan says that he's a bigot, though? What about Piers Morgan says that he's a bigot, Debbie? Because that's a very powerful word to use, so I'm going to explore this with you a little bit if I can. Give me the evidence that he's a bigot.
Okay. It's a way that he talks to people.
So he's abrupt, yes, we can say he's abrupt.
Okay, so maybe I've got the wrong word.
No, let's be fair here, Debbie. You know, all opinions are welcome around the campfire, and we'll also talk about them. So when you say you've got the wrong words, if I hadn't challenged you on that, if I hadn't, you know, said, give me the evidence for it, and again, if somebody was saying Debbie's a bigot, I'd be saying, well, show me the evidence for Debbie, you know, being a bigot as well, is that this, and I think this is the point, I think this is one of the problems that we've got, is that when somebody pays us off, we will give them a label without thinking, actually, is there a better way to communicate what I'm feeling about this person? So rather than give them a general label like a bigot, what may be more helpful is to say, actually, when he speaks in this way to certain people, that goes against my values or the way that I would do it. And that really irritates me to the point where I get that angry because it's so against my values and so different from the way that I do it, I turn my TV off. Now, I take it, that's a 20-second response, but it's much more detailed and understandable than just saying he's a bigot and ending the conversation. Would you agree with that, Debbie?
I would agree with that, yes.
Brilliant. So what else about Piers Morgan, then, really irritates you to the point where, I mean, again, if I can ask you, do you think he's a racist or not?
No, I don't believe he's a racist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe he's a racist. I think he's got narcissistic traits. I do believe...
Haven't we all? Haven't we got all, you know... Surely all of us have got some narcissistic traits within us. Take me, I come in here, I produce my videos, I say hello, I've got Kyle, my biggest fan. Kyle, thanks very much for coming in. You know, so all of us have got narcissistic traits. Anybody who reaches a certain position within the hierarchy, like, for example, to be a presenter, has got narcissistic traits. A politician, you know, a manager within any organisation, as in, you've all got to have, and I include myself in this, a little bit of narcissism in order to, you know, get to that next level, get to that promotion, get to that position. So is that a bad thing to have narcissism? Because then you're blanketing everybody with that. So, like, yes, he has got narcissistic qualities, but is that a bad thing to have, Debbie?
I think it is when it becomes abusive to other people.
Okay, yes, yeah, okay. So is it the fact that he's abusive to other people is the issue here? Or when he is abusive to other people, that's something that really grates on you, rather than the fact that he's, you know, maybe he's in love with himself, or he self-preserves by doing certain things that help him to survive on this world?
I mean, he's totally in love with himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's rude to other people. With Meghan, he goes on about her mental health.
What you said about her mental health? Sorry, I'm not aware of anything that he said about her mental health. What specifically has he said about her mental health, please?
About how that she has walked away from her family, her friends. In fact, she's walked away from everybody she's ever known.
But what's that got to do with her mental health?
Creating her as being the issue.
Sorry, you sort of broke up there. So, yes, she may have walked away, you know, she's left her father, she's left her previous husband, etc. But you said about specifically referenced her mental health, Debbie.
Yes. Because he was going on about her suicide and her suicidal thoughts and that.
Okay, and what was he saying about the suicidal thoughts?
No, he was saying that she was having suicidal thoughts, yes, and he was saying that he did not believe that.
Right, and is that not okay for him not to believe that?
No.
Okay.
Not when somebody is standing there saying, I've had suicidal thoughts. Who is the other person to say, no, you haven't?
But everybody's entitled to a belief, surely.
When somebody is saying that, standing in front of you or sitting there talking and you're listening, and they are saying to you, I have had suicidal thoughts.
But Meghan wasn't talking directly to him, though. Meghan wasn't saying that to him, though, Debbie, was she? She hadn't gone to Piers and said, I need some help.
Which he was listening to.
Yeah.
She was saying it in the interview to which he was heard.
Yeah.
Which he heard.
And I think that's I would say, one of the dangerous perspectives here, or maybe it's one of the angles that this could potentially go off on, is that if somebody comes searching, so let's focus on Meghan at the moment. When she was given those examples, within the Oprah interview, when she was talking about her mental health and when she asked for help and none was coming, on my body language, I put out there, like, on a choice of authentic or inauthentic, there were so many authentic behaviours that backed up that she was feeling it, she was rock bottom, she was having suicidal thoughts, there was the globus sensation, there was the tightening of the throat, there was everything that you would expect there. And nothing really at all, in fact, there wasn't nothing really, there was nothing that I thought she was being inauthentic about what she was saying. Okay, so I fully agree with that. I also fully agree if someone goes to seek help, first of all, they've had the courage to say, I need help, just to get over that obstacle, okay? Just to get over that obstacle is, should be applauded. In society, which is where I've got the issue with Piers Morgan that I'll explain here, is that we need to provide more psychological safety. So when someone feels that they need to go and speak up, there's less of that narrative about I'm embarrassed, people will think ill of me, I look stupid, etc. We really need to up our game in society, okay? Up our game in society to provide an emotional platform. Because it might be me next week, Debbie, it might be you the year after, who needs someone in that space and have the courage to say, actually, it's okay to say that I need help, all right? You will not find a bigger supporter of that than me here. But what Piers has done...
That has been my life for the last 20-odd years. I'm now 60. The mental health.
Yeah.
So when somebody says to somebody, yes, it does irritate me when somebody says, I don't believe she's had those thoughts.
Because that's personal to you, though, Debbie, yeah? That's personal to you. And what I would say here, again, and we're just trying to have authentic conversation, is that where I think Piers Morgan damages what we're trying to achieve as a society, or at least some of us, we're trying to achieve it, is when we're looking at it and saying, okay, from a psychological safety, have people got the courage, the conviction, the safety in the head to say, look, I've got a problem, I don't know what's the matter, but I need some help. So I've got two perspectives on this. I still believe that Piers Morgan should have his psychological safety to say, I don't believe that, okay? That's on one side. On the other side, I'm like, oh my God, like, hearing that damages the ability, the purpose, the drive, the capacity of society to actually enhance that psychological safety to help people. So me, I've got two views. I would back anyone to say you're allowed, just like Meghan is allowed to feel how she feels, Piers Morgan is equally allowed to feel how he feels. On the other side, and he doesn't need to change his opinion, but because of statements like that, it doesn't help the wider cause about providing psychological safety for people to speak up sooner, Debbie. That's my point on it.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Brilliant.
And that's where, for me, that's where he fell down big time.
Yeah.
And this thing about, well, William's okay, it hasn't affected William.
Yeah, but that's like comparing apples and pears.
Anything about mental health. Problem?
Yeah, I think there, and again, that would be generalised. Just because it doesn't affect A does not mean in any capacity it won't affect B. We're all different, all our heads and hearts.
Exactly.
Yeah, we all work on different processes, and we need that individual type support based on what we're feeling right now, as opposed to, well, so-and-so's been through the situation and therefore, yeah, but I'm not so-and-so. I'm somebody different. All right, Debbie, I'll have to bring that to an end there. Debbie from Northern Ireland.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you, Debbie, for joining in. Really, really appreciate it. So we're going to have to bring this live stream to an end. Thanks very much, Debbie. I hope you've enjoyed the debate. Just, the ability, that's what we're trying to do, to start asking questions, to say it's okay to ask questions. All right, it's okay to bring your views to the table. It's okay to have different opinions to each other. What we do need more of, though, is that ability to get around that campfire, to listen, to learn, to share. On that basis, again, just to remind you, if you are wanting free resources, believeinbruce.com, we've got a little graphic that we'll be bringing up here. There's a website that I've created, believeinbruce.com. That will be where a resource where anybody can action. It'll be in the link below when this video goes from live to an actual video that's hosted by YouTube at the end of this session. So if you're interested in learning little simple tools, psychological tools, self-help tools that can help you be a better version of you, that can help you be more in control of your thoughts and feelings. If you're interested in psychology, if you're interested in body language, head across to believeinbruce.com. Is there anything else here? No, I think we've covered it all. Wow, that is nearly a 2-hour live. Not bad for the first time in here in the new studio. All right. Feel free if you want to connect with me on my socials as well. You can connect with me at Instagram. So on Instagram, my tagline, my name on there is believeinbruce360. You can also connect with me on Twitter under the name of believeinbruce. It would be great, you know, around this campfire, let me know who guests you want on. We can either do it from the studio or from the Volkswagen camper van. It would have to be in the UK initially. All right, so connect with me on Instagram, believeinbruce360, or at Twitter to let me know who you want me to interview, whose story you would like to hear. You know, who could I get on the other side of the fire? Ask questions about them, learn from them, maybe challenge them depending on their behavior as well. But hopefully you've had a good time. Thanks very much for joining in the live stream. Remember to subscribe to Believe in Bruce. Please share in your socials as well. Give us some feedback in the comments below. Remember to like it to help the algorithm as well. That all supports the channel. But more important than any of this, Believe in Bruce. Please, please remember to be kind to yourselves and each other. Thanks very much. I'll see you next time.